Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. I'm Sean,
I'm Jessica.
and we're Humble and Free. We're up in Williams, Arizona. It's a bit breezy, as I'm sure you can hear with the microphone. Hopefully it's not
We're
too
trying.
much wind. We're trying. It's nice up here, about 80 degrees. We escaped the heat and came up here for two reasons. One was to celebrate our 4-year wedding anniversary, and the other was to break in our newly purchased 2008 Casita travel trailer. We purchased it from a couple up in Northern California. Story of going to pick it up and meeting them, I feel, is one of the things that really makes buying one of these trailers so special and so unique.
I
We've
absolutely
read
agree.
so many stories of people who have had such long journeys to go pick up their Casitas, and so glad that we had that with this trailer.
They were amazing people and it was a great experience.
So when they purchased it, they didn't really do anything to it. It's pretty much as it came off the factory assembly line in 2008, which was one of the things that we really, really loved about it, because it gave us the potential to make it our own and kind of personalize it ourselves. So we wanted to take advantage of that opportunity to show you guys what it starts out as, and
Hopefully what will make it.
hopefully what will make it. I'll run through a little tour of the outside.
And I'll
Jessica,
run through a tour of the inside.
she'll do better than me on that. Yeah, so you'll give you guys a taste of what this trailer kind of looks like. If anyone's in the market for one, it's like the perfect one.
It is the perfect trailer. We decided on its size, our ability to use it, and get to all kinds of tiny camp spots all over the U.S. We didn't want to be limited on size. And we hope you enjoy the tour, and thank you so much for tuning in.
I'm going to talk about some of the stuff on the outside that I would want to know if I were in the market to buy one. So follow me over here. We'll start at the front. The tongue of the trailer, I believe the weight that goes on the ball is actually around 300 to 350 pounds. So that's what actually sits on your vehicle. It comes with a nice 2,000-pound ball tongue jack. Pretty nice little hitch here. What's really great is the previous owner painted this thing white, which makes it so much easier to see if you have a backup camera, and you can line it up perfectly. Moving on, we've got two propane bottles, both covered here. I'm not going to pull the cover off, but they're two propane bottles. There's a gas regulator valve, so you can switch which bottle you're using. We've got just a little light up front here. Got a new LED bulb in there. A little level on here. I'm going to kind of maybe replace the level. All this plastic kind of yellows over time, and this one doesn't seem quite right because we're not that far off level. You got your entryway door. In the newer Casitas, they have this kind of squared off entry door. The older Casitas, I want to say, we looked at it, was a 91, and the door was actually rounded to kind of match the shape of the Casita. It was really, really cute, and it had a lot of personality to it, but left a bit of a door gap down at the bottom, and you could see a lot of daylight coming through, so it wasn't really airtight, you know? So you've got a nice fold down step. It's just a single step. It folds up like this. We've got our dog's little leash attached to it right now. This guy comes down. A lot of people will put on 2 steps. 1 is fine for us for right now. Moving back, you got a nice handle here to help you get in the door. Another light. These guards right here are the back side of the refrigerator. There we go. So this is the back side of the refrigerator. And one of the things the previous owner told me was a nice way to know if your refrigerator is working is to just stick your hand up against here, and if you feel heat coming out, then it's working. So we've got heat coming out, and so our food is staying nice and cold. This guy down here, again, is just another cover for the bottom part of the refrigerator. We've got a nice plug out here. This is the oven, or the stove vent hood.
We point out the same mistake Jessica made on the interior.
So this is basically attached to the back side of the fan, and so it allows any gas or heat to escape out this way. We've got a new one of these ready to put on. It's a little yellowed, and I think it got burnt at one point, so that's why the duct tape is on there. Back here, this is really the only storage compartment. So what this has in it is our water tank. And it's kind of cool because you can see the water tank in here. And you can see we've been camping for 2 nights already, and we've barely even used any of the water in here. Now, on the right-hand side of this water tank, it's a very small little compartment behind the wheel well. You could do things like put the wheel chocks in there, or maybe the cranks for our stabilizer arms. But overall, it's not a huge storage area. Before we leave this side, I'll talk about the tires. These are 14-inch tires and wheels. This is what comes standard on the Casita. This Casita was equipped with what's called the high lift axle or a high lift chassis. That's why it looks like we've got a little bit extra clearance in this wheel well. It also gives us a bit more road clearance from the ground to the axle, because eventually we're going to put on some 15-inch tires and wheels on this thing, and maybe even put a little lift kit on it. The only thing we have done so far is we took off the old stabilizers They used to just kind of flip down from the back and they weren't quite so stable. So we got these scissor jacks, which this thing can raise, I think it's 5,500 pounds. Way overkill for a 3,000 pound trailer. But we bought these little plates, we welded them onto the frame, and we got these jacks bolted on. And these things, we put one on either side of the back and one on either side of the front. So you've got 4 points of stabilization. Plus the tongue, this thing is like rock solid now. And it's like a must first improvement for anybody who buys one of these things. We've got our roof-mounted AC, which blows nice and cold. On the back, we got fortunate enough to have the original Casita spare tire cover. Here, this little door is where we fill our water tank. I'll open this guy up and kind of explain this a bit. When you're filling your water tank, you pop this cap off and you stick your hose in there and fill her up. This guy is basically an air release as well as a fill level check. So when your tank gets up to its full point, water will start to spurt and bubble out of there. But as we've realized, this is kind of a little funky design because when this thing's bouncing down the road, we lose a lot of water coming out of here. And it's kind of a common thing that a lot of Casita owners have experienced. We're gonna kind of consult some of the professionals to see what solutions they have for it. So this will be a work in progress. The bumper, pretty solid, will protect the trailer. The hose for the septic tank is stored in here. It's got a little plug. We don't need to pull that guy out of there, but you get the idea. That's definitely all dirty. Coming around the other side of the trailer, we have 3 compartments. This one right here, this is where the battery is stored. So it's got its own little battery compartment and hatch. So you pop off this bracket and you can slide the battery out and replace it if you need to. There is some wiring in there, so you could do solar. We don't have solar yet. The only downside I see to this battery compartment is that it's only got space for 1 battery. Having 2 would be a great thing. So that might be something that we kind of address in the future here. This guy is our hot water heater. Works really well. I need to get some compressed air and blow out some of these areas to kind of get the dust and dirt out. We tested it when we picked up the trailer and everything worked great. I'm about to take a hot shower tonight, so we'll see how that works. This is just a compartment for our power cable. It's got a small amount of space in there. You could maybe store, I wouldn't even put anything besides a power or an electric plug in there.
It's a big box, but it's really just for the cable.
Yeah. I would say maybe that storage compartment on the other side would be a good place to put your water hose, maybe, because it's carpeted and it's a little cleaner in there. I wouldn't put it in there. As you can see, we got another scissor jack down here, keeping us nice and stable. This was an upgrade that they added. The upgrades they did on this, they did the high lift axle. They did an increased water tank capacity. I believe it's 30 gallons.
I think it's 25.
25 gallons plus a 5 or 6 gallon
You're
water,
right. It's
hot
25 gallons plus the 6 gallons of hot water.
So they did the axle, they did the water tank, and they did the outdoor shower. So the outdoor shower is super cool. This is where I hose Jessica off before she gets into bed. Below here, we've got the water connection for when you're at a campground. And what we use and will be using is a pressure reducer so that you regulate the pressure that's coming into your trailer. It's always a good idea to use one because you never know what the pressure is at campgrounds. This guy is the outlet for the waste tanks. So this kind of swivels down like this. You pull that cap off. This valve is for your gray water tank, anything that goes down your sink drains. This valve is for your black water tank, anything that goes down your toilet. I like to keep it kind of folded up so it doesn't catch anything while we're driving. I guess you can see where the scissor jacks are mounted on the front. This is something that I think is kind of interesting to see. When I was installing these, it took a while to kind of figure out where we should put these, but there's a portion of that frame that is boxed, and we installed them right on the part that's boxed on the frame. Since we're out here, we might as well talk about our power. Instead of going straight into solar, Jessica was saying that we wanted air conditioning for our dogs and to make sure that we had enough power to make sure they were comfortable if we were to leave them in the trailer and say go hiking for a couple hours early in the morning. We did a bunch of research, worked all the numbers about how many watts we'd want for our power, ended up at a point where we were somewhere between 2,400 watts and 3,000. We ended up making the dive to go for the big Honda 3000, which is probably the king when it comes to generators. It's a little heavy, it weighs about 125 pounds. It's more power than we'll ever need, which is great because we're like, trying to figure out ways to spend our power. So maybe we'll get like some big lights and a sound system and we'll have like, a little like festival at our camp.
Party.
I might as well at least show the tow vehicle that I'm using for our trailer. I've got a Ford F-150. It's 4x4. No problem towing this Casita. You really don't even know it's back there. The hitch, I've got a mount for a sway bar. It stops the trailer from swaying from side to side in the wind. And I mean, I haven't even needed to use that thing. So regardless, so it's very light and it's very easy to tow. A lot of people tow them with small SUVs, even crossover vehicles. That's what's one of the things that's so great about this trailer and one of the reasons we really wanted it around this size. We've been to a lot of campgrounds. We've camped a lot in the forest, and the smaller your trailer is, the easier it is to get in and out of places. And we've seen some campgrounds where the long trailers are straight turned away. We never want to run into that situation. So this thing it crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's for what we were looking for. As far as the outside, that's pretty much it. We'll continue filling everybody in on the progress that we make. Ultimately, it's going to be our sweet little trailer.
I'm gonna let Ozzy take us out here. All right, Ozzy, say bye-bye. Say bye-bye.